Okay, welcome back, everyone. Let's begin with prayer as usual. There's an 11-step prayer we haven't said yet. So let's say that on page 24, the 11th-step prayer. Dear God, as I understand you, I pray to keep my connection with you open and clear from the confusion of daily life. Through my prayers and meditation, I ask especially for freedom from self-will, rationalization, and wishful thinking. I pray for the guidance of correct thought and positive action. Your will, higher power, not mine, be done. I'm going to save the next prayer to the end of the workshop. So we'll jump to the 12th-step prayer. Dear God, my spiritual awakening continues to unfold. The help I have received, I shall pass on and give to others, both in and out of the fellowship. For this opportunity, I am grateful. I pray most humbly to continue walking day by day on the road of spiritual progress. I pray for the inner strength and wisdom to practice the principles of this way of life in all I do and say. I need you, my friends, and this program every hour of every day. This is a better way to live. And we'll save the last 12-step prayer also for the end of the workshop. So let's turn back to page 3 and we'll review our progress. So, we admitted we were powerless over our addiction. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God. We actually made that surrender in the 3rd step. Then we did a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves and admitted to God, to ourselves, to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. And I think you will agree that that is probably the most thorough inventory that you've done, because it brought us to a nice long list of defects, the realization that we couldn't manage our own lives successfully with defects like that. And we became entirely ready to have God remove them in step 6 and humbly asked him to do so in step 7. And then we had to face the fact that we have harmed many people through our resentments, our fears, and our guilts, our actions, our inactions, our omissions. These, that somebody with as many defects of character as we have can't go through life without doing a lot of harm to a lot of people. However, we can set out on the road to right that. We can make reparations for the harm done. And simply just praying for those people who we've harmed is a really good way of doing it. I have a nice long list of people I pray for every day. Some of them are dead. I have one list for people who are dead and one list for people who are still alive. I've been praying now for 5 years for somebody that I really disliked. And you know, I met him the other day and I was amazed how much he'd improved. It was incredible. It was like a miracle. And then I thought, well, maybe he hasn't improved. Maybe it's just my thinking that's improved. Anyway, we then began the process of making amends by praying for someone on our list, making an indirect amend. And now we need to go forward with that and make more indirect and direct amends under the supervision of a sponsor, which we need to have. Then we learned how to continue to take personal inventory, that 10th step inventory tool, very important, very useful. Don't forget it, use it frequently. Then we learned how to do the prayer and meditation on a daily basis to improve our conscious contact with God. So God is the source of all knowledge and power. I need to keep the pipe between me and him clean. I have to do my bit of cleaning and ask him to help with this cleaning process as well, so that I can have that sense of his presence without the worldly clamors getting in the way. And then finally, we come to step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps. So here's a question. If as a result of this work that you've done, both in the first workshop and this one, you believe that you have had a change in your feelings, your attitudes, and beliefs, I would like you to put a large star in the WhatsApp group. If you ask again, if you feel as a result of doing this workshop, both the first and the second one, you've had a change in your feelings, your attitudes, or your beliefs, then please put a large star in the WhatsApp group. That's it. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Gregos. Okay, thanks, Benji, Kunal, Sage, Busan, Alex. Anyone else, please? Well, these are the people I'm going to be counting as having completed the steps. Okay, Dan, Ashutosh, Gudrun, Prem Kumar, Siddharth, Sachin, Aidan, Anil. That's okay, and Abhishai. All right. Well done, ladies and gentlemen. That is a spiritual awakening. Don't let anyone tell you it isn't. Now, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, single result. Okay, we've got Paul and now Abhishek. We're going to try to carry this message to other addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. I'm just going to translate that slightly. We're going to try to help other addicts through the 12 steps. And we're going to practice the 12 steps in all areas of our lives. Okay? This is the practical application of the 12th step. Now, remember that Dr. Bob was 1 day sober, 2 days sober, when he took his first newcomer through the 12 steps. Okay? He considered it quite appropriate for him to sponsor people when he was 2 days sober. And so do I. The important thing is whether you have got through the steps or not, whether you've had the spiritual awakening. That's what's important. If you've had the spiritual awakening, you're in a position to take other people through the process and help them to have a spiritual awakening as well. So, just to remind you again, Dr. Bob, having taken one person through the steps on his second day of sobriety, then proceeded to take 5,000 more people through the 12 steps in the next 4,000 days. That's more than one a day. In those days, they were getting a 90% plus success rate. Now the success rate in most of the fellowships has dropped way down to below 10%. Why? I believe because people are getting stuck on the steps. They're not doing the steps. They're coming to meetings. They hear people talking about the steps. They've no idea what it's all about. If they get a sponsor, maybe the sponsor takes them through 1 step a month or 1 step a year or something like that. There's no focus on getting to step 12 and then getting on with sponsoring other people. But I want you to change all that. I want each of you to make a commitment to take another person through this work within a maximum of 1 month. And let's say I prefer you to make a commitment to do it within a week, but it's still fresh in your mind. Okay? So on page 3, opposite the 12th step, you've got A, B, and C. This is for your 3 12th step commitments, okay? And I'm going to strongly guide you on this. A is going to be about you taking another person through the 12 steps within a week, a fortnight, or a month at the most, okay? So I want you to make a commitment to doing that. And you might, I don't know how you might phrase it, you might say, report to my group within 2 weeks that I have taken someone through the 12 steps. You could write that against A. Report to my group, that's this group on the WhatsApp. Stay on the WhatsApp group. I don't leave this group. Stay on this group to give each other support and encouragement. Okay, report to my group within 1 week that I've taken someone through the 12 steps. So that's commitment number 1. And commitment number 2 is I want you to commit to 12-stepping a named individual. For instance, I'm going to share experience, strength, and hope with John somebody who's not in recovery, within 3 days, something like that. So we're going to be specific with the person and when we're going to do it by. Okay, so this is you carrying the message to another addict who's not yet in recovery. All right, we're going to give you a tip for doing this. Okay, addicts have masses of armor, frontal armor against accusations. So you cannot accuse me of being an alcoholic. I can't hear that. But I have no defense against your story. So what we do is we go to this person, we say, hi, I'm in recovery from addiction. In order to recover from my addiction, I need to share my story. May I share my story with you for about 5 minutes? And then they will say, yes, of course they will. And then you tell them what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If they are an addict, which we're pretty sure they will be, they will identify. They may not respond immediately, but you've planted the seed. That's it. You've done your bit. You've tried to carry the message to them. The rest is up to God. You plant the seed, you let God water it and nourish it. Okay? So that's commitment B, to carry the message to a named individual within a certain specified period of time. Okay? So, and C, I'd like you to make a commitment to do some kind of service for your home fellowship. Now, if you are already doing service, you could consider doing another service at a different level. For instance, if you're doing a service at group level, then maybe it's time to be thinking about offering to do one at intergroup level. Sponsoring people is service, but this is where we're talking about doing service in the fellowship. Okay? Now the fellowship, why is the fellowship important? So let's turn to page 152 of the big book. So this is reading number 68. Number 68. We have shown how we got out from under. You say, yes, I'm willing, but am I to be consigned to a life where I should be stupid, boring, and glum, like some righteous people I see? I know I must get along without my addiction, but how can I? Have you a sufficient substitute? Yes, there is a substitute, and it's vastly more than that. It is a fellowship in Alcoholics Anonymous, Sexaholics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, whatever anonymous it is. And then some promises. Step 12 promises. There you will find release from care, boredom, and worry. Your imagination will be fired. Life will mean something at last. The most satisfactory years of your existence lie ahead. Hear, O Israel, the most satisfactory years of your existence lie ahead. Thus we find the fellowship, and so will you. How is this to come about, you ask? Where am I to find these people? You are going to meet these new friends in your own community. Near you, alcoholics, addicts are dying helplessly like people in a sinking ship. If you live in a large place, there are hundreds. There are hundreds of foodies, hundreds of sexaholics, hundreds of gamblers, hundreds of debtors, hundreds of under-earners, hundreds of alcoholics, hundreds of drug addicts, high and low, rich and poor. These are the future fellows of your anonymous fellowship. Among them you will make lifelong friends. Among them you will make lifelong friends. We've always wanted to have friends. Now we have lifelong friends through the fellowship. You will be bound to them by new and wonderful ties. These are promises. For you will escape disaster together, and you will commence shoulder to shoulder your common journey. It's another promise. Then you will know what it means to give of yourself, that others may survive and rediscover life. You will learn the full meaning of love thy neighbor as thyself. Another promise. It may seem incredible that these men are to become happy, respected, and useful once more. How can they rise out of such misery, bad repute, and hopelessness? The practical answer is that since these things have happened among us, they can happen with you. Should you wish them above all else and be willing to make use of our experience, we are sure they will come. The age of miracles is still with us. Our own recovery proves that. We need the fellowship. It's a we program. We don't get sober alone. We get sober together with others. And so this third commitment, I'd like you to make that to be to somebody, to doing service at group level, to do with the fellowship in some way. Help with creating a convention, help with laying on a step workshop, help with service at intergroup, at region, international level, whatever seems appropriate. Ask God for guidance. Remember, with the test for God's will, if you're ever presented with 2 options or more, you just test each option for God's will. Is this honest and unselfish and pure and loving? Is this honest, unselfish, pure and loving? And if both option A and option B fail, then that tells you that there's an option C that God has not shown you yet. So you engage in masterful inactivity until option B appears to you. Option C, rather, the third option that you hadn't thought of. Okay. So I'm going to give you the opportunity, if you wish, to type out your 3 commitments, A, B, and C, and put them into the WhatsApp group, just as your way of sort of finally committing those to the group. And I recommend that you stay on this group to give each other support. If you haven't been part of the workshop, then obviously please leave the group. It's not really for you. It's a closed group for people who've worked their way through to step 12. But thanks for being with us, and maybe I'll see you on a future workshop. But for those of you who've put your star up today, stay on the group and try and be accountable to each other. Let each other know when you've taken your first person through the 12 steps and how it was for you, what the inner experience of that was. Did you benefit? In what way did you benefit? Okay, so I just need to tell you about one other tool which I haven't yet properly integrated into the workshop, which is the fear tool. I'll just tell you about that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to enter open mic, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to share some experience, strength, and hope, to do some actual 12-step message carrying on this workshop by sharing a hopeful message, a message of depth and weight to other members on the workshop. Okay, so that will take us up to the hour, to the end of the workshop. In the meantime, if you'd like to put your commitments up where people can see them, that would be great. If you want to do them one at a time, that's fine. If you want to do all 3 at the same time, that's fine. But if you could put your commitments up there so that we can see what it is you're planning to do, what you're intending to do. Okay. So I'm asking you to make the 3 commitments. 1 is to your group or intergroup, or to the fellowship. 1 is to 12-step an individual person named by name. And the 3rd one is to take one person, at least one person, through the 12 steps. And all of these should have a time reference when you're going to do them. You're going to do that within a week, within a month. When are you going to do it? Okay. Need to be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. 3 commitments. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we try to carry this message to other addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And as in the early that early description of the 12 steps, now we can look at number 5, which is the addict must help other addicts to get straightened out. This throws up a protective barrier and strengthens his own willpower and convictions. Okay, in order to get sober, we need to access the solution. The solution consists of 4 things. Join the fellowship, get a sponsor, work all 12 steps, and do service. Specifically, take someone else through the 12 steps. It's a 4-legged stool. We need to have all 4 of those in place if we're going to stay sober. Okay, great. So we're going to take, so Mike is going to take someone through the 12 steps by next Sunday. Great. Share with Riley and Pete my story this week. Excellent. Great. Take someone to the program 3 months. Carry the message to an individual 3 months. And do a service to my group or to SA within 2 weeks. Okay, Alex, I'd like, you know, if you could put somebody's name in there or initials, that would be good. Make it commit to a particular person you're going to do this for. Appreciate I may not have anyone in mind at the moment. I'm going to try to carry this message to non-recovering addict Vivek within a week. Okay, good. Report to the group. I've taken someone through the steps in the next 3 weeks. Good. Report that I've 12 stepped somebody by sharing my story to somebody on Guard Your Eyes. Yeah, in the next 3 weeks. Good. Inquire about online service positions during the corona and take a position in the next week. Good. Yeah. Take at least 1 person through the 12 steps within 2 weeks. Maybe organize a small online workshop for willing work fellows from my fellowship. That would be great, Gregos. If you could do that, that'd be marvelous. Do what I've done. You know, I've just taught myself to do this. You know, it's like just practice. Chair a phone Zoom meeting ASAP. Great. Already working 12 steps with a friend. Excellent. Do a small workshop for sponsees and workshop one-on-one with them within 1 week. Great. Identify the person who I can carry the message to. Can't think of anyone right now. Do a service at intergroup online meeting organizing by the end of the week. Excellent. Great. Okay, now let's, at this point, we'll go into the open sharing part. I suggest we've probably got a couple of minutes each, something like that, just to give a positive message of hope, depth and weight to the other people on the call. Okay, so as you're ready, just unmute yourself and the floor is open. If you want to talk about your aha moment during the workshop, you can. I'd like to thank you.
My name is Alex. Sorry to interrupt you there. Just wanted to thank you for the program. It's really good. I feel like this has really invigorated me to be involved in the program and to get involved with other people, and also to spread the message more and just reconfirm my commitment and maybe why I hadn't been taking enough action. So the aha moment for me was when I saw the Step 10 page about what disturbed me. That will really help me not to let things build up, I think. And also the idea of sponsoring people soon or taking people through the steps was something that I had no idea you could do early. I thought you'd need at least 6 months up to do that. So that's like a real paradigm shift and game changer. So I suppose it gives me more commitment to helping others as well, not just focus on myself, which is exactly what I need to do. So thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alex.
Hi, Nicholas. Can I share something?
Hi there.
Go ahead, Gregos.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for those workshops. And I must admit now that But now I can understand this idea, why to bring and to take people really quickly through the steps. Because I heard about this option idea, but actually I didn't understand it. I didn't have this experience on my own. I had an experience that my sponsor took me like around, I think, within 2 years. And for me, it it did work. I mean, like I didn't relapse through this time, but now I understand that maybe it could have been much quicker, easier, and maybe it can really help those who relapse all the time, because they cannot get through, for example, the fourth step. That there is like a wall, and that's why I wanted to share and thank you, because I really feel now that I have this. I made this commitment, but I really believe that it's very important that I need to spread it, to share the message, to really spread the message, and to do something like those workshops for people who are willing to take part in it. So thank you very much. My aha moment was the 11-step inventory, or this 11-step method. So writing down things which are in my head and then crossing them out. Yeah, it's amazing. And this test for God's will, I knew it, but I didn't understand that and understand it before, and I believe that now it's much more useful for me. It can be useful. So thank you.
Thank you, Grzegorz.
Hi, my name is Kunal. I'm an alcoholic and a sexaholic. May I share for a couple of minutes?
Go ahead, Kunal.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. It's been an absolute intense, draining, and very enlightening couple of days with you. And thank you for your service and hard work. I've been sober in AA many years, nearly 19 years, and sober in SA for about 3 years now. I remember I was about 7 years sober in AA before I had my first experience of an intense workshop like this, a 12-step experience like this. Also through a workshop leader who had the coming from the Clarence Snyder school, and I had a shift. I had an amazing shift, and I was driven by a lot of. And I started a new phase in my recovery then. But over the years, it just degenerated, and I became complacent, and I could see my life had become very chaotic, especially in the sexual behavior area. And I needed something like this again now. And I thank you once again very much because after nearly, to have this experience, I just want to share that, just because one is sober and has done this once doesn't make one bulletproof or anything. It's a progressive disease. My spiritual condition degenerated, and I found myself doing things I was not proud of or happy with. I was sober, but I was not doing well. So I feel energized. I feel hopeful again. I'm humbled. I'm very grateful for the experience again, and I hope once again another shift can happen. Thank you. Thank you for doing this for us.
Thank you, Kunal.
Hi, Nicholas. Hi, can I share?
Go ahead, Sid.
Yeah. I just wanted to say that I'm really grateful for this program. I've been in this program for 2 years now, and this was my first experience with a workshop. And so from my aha moment was in step 8, when I was taking inventory of people I've hurt and doing the resentment lesson. I realized that, okay, actually the person I've hurt the most was myself, and that was stopping me from having a conscious contact with God and having a spiritual experience. So when I admitted that was a big relief for me. And the commitments, I've already started doing some service work in my own home group here in India. And actually planning to start a fellowship in Delhi, but since the coronavirus started, we couldn't have face-to-face meetings. So yeah, that's one of my commitments. 12-stepping someone, but I have to name that individual. I have to work with them. I haven't decided one on yet, but I would do that soon, this week, hopefully. And I'm grateful for these workshops again. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. I look forward to meeting you one day in Delhi, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, Nicholas. This is Bhushan. Can I talk?
Hi, Bhushan, go ahead.
As I mentioned, as I already wrote in my WhatsApp message, that I've been coming to A for last 8 years, but I never did this exercise. And now I'm getting to know only a little of why I could not succeed. I was not really very keen about the steps and the program. In fact, I used to walk away from the meeting whenever anybody starts to talk about and share about the literature or the program or the steps. But now I got to know what it is exactly. All the time throughout my life, I was always thinking, blaming others. I was trying to, go for the uh, materialistic growth. I always dream of that. But what others were telling all the time, that spiritual growth has to supersede materialistic growth. That I got to realize today. I'm highly thankful. And for me, all this synchronized at the right time. As I mentioned, that I lost my 1 year of sobriety, and after 6 months of sobriety, I observed that I'm going through the same phase again, the same thinking. And luckily, I got this time, this lockdown period. I'm at home. I had Big Book. I started with Big Book again, more interestingly this time, and I got a message about your workshop. So all this synchronized. I feel I treat this is God will for me. All this synchronized, and the end result of this is indeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhushan.
Hey, this is Mike. Am I free to share?
Hi, Mike.
Yeah, I'm extremely grateful. I have just been really struggling in the program, or as far as, yeah, keeping sobriety. But yeah, I came across this and hopped on, and I've just kind of really been blown away as far as like why it took me so long to get through the steps in the first place, but really just almost the frustration of like, why didn't I do this sooner? And also just, yeah, it just kind of opened up just the idea of what 12 steps are, just like reading them from the big book. So yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I know there's a lot of different things happening. It's just hard to comprehend over the last couple of days. But yeah, I'm yeah kind of blown away that I even can think that I can uh go share the 12 steps now. But I definitely feel like and trying to understand what a spiritual awakening in has lessened, and it's kind of seeing that it's just happening by doing. So I don't know, I'm just really happy that I was able to be here. Thanks to everyone, and thank you for leading this. And yeah, I mean, the biggest moment was really the whole thing, and that I can go through the 12 steps this quickly, but not in like a unthorough way. So this was extremely thorough, more thorough than when I did it with a sponsor. And it took me about, I don't know, I didn't even finish them. But yeah, so I'm extremely grateful, and I hope I can keep on sharing this. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else like to share?
Hi, I might share actually. I wasn't planning to. My name's Dan.
Hello, Dan.
Hello. Yeah, just as others have said, I've done the steps before through a sponsor, and the way I've done it previously has always been very long-winded and thorough, in the sense of spending many hours on a single step, and basically over a period of months even trying to get the sponsor free to go through different parts. And yeah, I just wanted to say it's kind of a totally new thought to think that after doing this workshop, which was basically over a weekend, that I can even take that to other people. And I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily a question, but it's kind of more just a comment that I think often in the groups, the culture is very much that you have to hit a certain mark of skill or acceptance or experience to even consider being able to pass that on to other people. And that sounds quite different to what you are saying and what the AA guys and back in the day were sort of saying. So it's kind of a new thought for me. And I know you've kind of really pushed this whole, you know, the 12th step is basically passing that on to others, and that's our job to do that now. And yeah, just wanted to say thanks for that. But yeah, just wondered if that was something you had come across, and if you had any tips for people like ourselves who may sort of not know how to actually not come against that culture, but basically be different to that culture, and not feel we have to sort of sit back now because we're not, I don't know, some team expert in the program.
Thank you, Dan. I'm Nicholas. Great point, really, because the way to do it, I believe, is just to get on and do it. Find a newcomer who doesn't know any better, take them through the steps, see how it works for you and for them. And you know, there's no arguing with other people's experience. You know, I've taken getting on for 2,000 people through the steps now, so I have a bit of experience. Other people have experience as well, which I respect, but people cannot actually dispute my experience. So that's why I say get some experience, prove that this works, prove me right, and go from there. Thank you. Okay, we're getting close to the end now. Please interrupt me if you still want to share, if you hot to share. But I think I said I was going to tell you about the fear tool, and I'm not sure I did that. I don't think I did I? Did I? Please remind me.
You mentioned that. I
mentioned you write down your fears, you call somebody, and then you read the fear prayer. That's very important. I don't know whether I made that very clear. The fear prayer, there's a fear prayer on page 22 that we actually write down our fears, call someone, and read the fears to them, and then we say the fear prayer. All my fears are self-centered. I surrender them to you. I humbly ask that you remove them, this is to God, and direct my attention to what you'd have me be. Immediately I commence to outgrow fear. That is the fear tool, and it's extremely valuable, extremely powerful. Okay, whenever you're feeling anxiety, fear, any kind of scared about anything, write a fear list, ring somebody, read it to them, and say the fear prayer. The fear prayer is the most important part, but that's the process. Okay, I think I will be looking forward. I will be looking out specifically to hear from you when you've taken your first person through the steps. This is what to me, this is the real mark of success for me, is have I been able to enable someone else to take another person through the 12 steps. I'm 71 years old now, and I shan't be around all that much longer. And I hope we won't for a while yet, but eventually it's down to you guys and the people that you bring through the steps to keep this message going, keep carrying the message. So that's all I could wish. Those of you who have got problems with lust, I think I should just say that if, having worked the 12 steps, you find yourself relapsing again, then I would suggest that you consider working a programmed plan of eating. In other words, go into one of the food fellowships, because with lust has a particular quality that lust and gluttony are like twins and they feed each other, and that gluttony has to be dealt with before lust. So if you find yourself chronically relapsing on lust, then I believe the thing to do is not to try and work the steps again, because you've done that. And if you've done that and it hasn't worked, if you relapsed again, what you need to do is to look at the food and see if you can get some abstinence around food. And if you want more information on that, please message me privately on it, okay? But don't consider it as a fail. If you have a problem with lust, you work the 12 steps and you still find yourself relapsing again. It's not that unusual a problem. But for many of you, I think for many people who've done this process, I can say that they date their sobriety from the time they did this. It's definitely a changer, a life changer in that regard. There's no need for any of you to act out again. Okay, Sachin, you want to say something? Oh, all right. Sachin, did you want to share?
Hello.
Go ahead if you want to share. Got a couple of minutes. No, nothing heard. Okay, so let's just finish the workshop with a couple of prayers. There's a lovely 11-step prayer which we haven't said yet. Lord, make me an instrument for your peace. And then there's a very good 12-step prayer which we can finish the workshop on. All right, so it's on page 24. The 11th step prayer, the second 11th step prayer. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. Second 12-step prayer. God, I ask you what I can do today for the person who is still sick. Please help me put my own house in order, and I believe that the answers will come. Help me make my relationship with you right. Then great events will come to pass for me and countless others. That is the great fact for us. Help me abandon myself to you. Help me admit my faults to you and to my fellows. Help me clear away the wreckage of my past. Help me give freely of what I have found and join with others. May God bless us and keep us. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful Easter holiday period. Stay safe and pray for me. I need it. God bless.
Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you, Nicholas. I will pray for you.
Thank you very much, Nicholas.
Thank you, everybody. Let's stay in touch on the WhatsApp group.
Thank you, Nicholas.